Thank you so much for being with us today. And I hope you really enjoyed watching Coral Woman as much as I did. Wasn't it just an amazing experience for all of us as we went along with Uma and Priya into the deep waters? So with us today here, we have both Uma Mani and Priya Thuvassery with us. And I'd like to welcome both of them. Welcome, Priya. Welcome, Uma. Um, Uma's story is amazing, and I'm going to let her tell you most of it because she decided in her 50s that she would actually learn to now dive and visit the corals that she used to paint. And of course, and what she found was a world of wonder, and she will speak to you about it. And with us is the director of the film, Priya Thuvassery. Priya is an independent a documentary filmmaker and a television producer. She's based in Delhi. And Priya's entire body of work has focused on gender. It's focused on, and her stories are focused on experiences of the environment, experiences of the body, the community, and they're all mapped from a gender and a feminine or a feminist perspective. I hope I got that right. Priya has been directing, she's been producing, she's been editing documentary films, excuse me, and television programs for New Delhi Television. She's done this for Fox Traveler. She's done this for CNA, for National Human Rights. And let me look at my notes here. She's done this for the Film Division of India. And her independent films as well, besides these documentaries, she's made some independent films, and they include Kana Badosh in 2009, My Sacred Glass Bowl in 2013, Survey Number Zero in 2016, and of course, Coral Woman that we are bringing to you today, which we made in 2019, just before all of this COVID hit us, and currently working on Barbara Lake Your Water. She has, and her films have won many awards in many national film festivals as well as international film festival. And she, besides her work in films, she's also co-director of the Asian Women's Film Festival and is a board member as well. And saying that she makes many more films. I know she's working on a series of films that involve climate change and the impact of, you know, the Coral Woman film as such. And so I welcome you. Welcome, Priya.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. And welcome, Uma Mani. Welcome. I'd love to hear your stories too. I know that you live primarily in the hills, but here you are, you're in the water, diving in the water. I mean, that itself is so amazing. So I want to ask you, Uma, I want to start with you, Uma. How did you decide that this is what you want to do? I mean, can you take us back to the moment when you said, or when you decided, hey, I must learn scuba diving. I need to be with the corals. I mean, was this a conscious decision, Omar, for you?
Yeah, I kind of had a identity crisis. I really want to do something and be somebody.
Yeah,
So when I started painting, so that I was searching for myself to be someone. That is a real truth, and that is why I started painting. And I was looking out for a theme, so I thought I'll paint roses first. Uh, After which, when I saw this documentary by Dr. Pascal Chabanet, and I decided it's going to be the coral reefs. So that was the time when I saw this video documentary. That documentary changed my life, and that is the moment I said, yes, I'm going to dive like this lady, and I'm going to paint coral reefs. But people were not happy because many of them do not know what coral reefs were. They thought they were all, it was all rocks. Coral reefs were rocks, or are the ones we use for jewelry. That is what
yeah,
people thought.
yeah.
Mm,
Oh, wow. And what was the name of the documentary that so moved you? or the
It was Dr. Pascal Chabanet. It was shot in the Reunion Islands, and she's a coral researcher. So it had a French name. It was a French documentary. Uh,
did you
yeah,
ever
it
get
was
to meet
about.
him? I mean, did you ever get to meet her?
Yes, she was there. She was explaining about the coral reefs, but we didn't know personally.
Okay.
And but we kept in touch, and she was very happy with Priya's work, and she mailed Priya also recently. We all the three of us we shared all the information.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that she said she was so happy that I was inspired, and it's been 10 years now, and so we the three of us got to meet and on email, of course we mailed. So that's what happens, and only now she know I told her that you are my guru.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Did you, once you decided, well, this is what I want to do, how did you go about learning scuba diving? Did you have a teacher? Obviously, yes, you probably did, but was there someone that you absolutely followed, or did you just take classes, or how did it go about? How did you go about that? Because you live in the hills, and it meant you have to get to the ocean, right? And was that the closest point for you, that particular ocean, the Gulf of Mannar, or were you excited by the Gulf of Mannar because you'd been there before?
Yeah, by the time I was this film, I was living in the Maldives for 12 years because my husband was posted.
Yeah.
So I had ocean all around then.
Ah,
So I
beautiful.
watched this in Alliance Francaise Maldives. So that is why I decided for the coral reefs, but I didn't know to swim.
Mhm.
And without seeing the coral reefs, I was painting and having holding exhibitions. Look at my audacity.
I
The
like that.
guts I had. That is like a child, like I wanted to do something, so I did it. Even before thinking about the repercussions, I just
Right.
literally took a giant leap into painting coral reefs without
I love
even
that.
knowing.
I
So
love that about you, Uma. I think there's a big lesson for all of us in this, because you're really showing us, this is you have one life to live, and take the plunge, do what you think, find yourself, because that's really what you were trying to do, right? So then you took some lessons, and you had to stay there for a long time, or how did that
yeah,
work?
that's what Dr. Amal Ali, my great friend of mine in the Maldives. I told her I shared my interest in diving. So she was so, oh, you want to dive? Okay, Uma, I'll find a best diver for you because there's a superwoman diver in the Maldives, and
Mm.
she's the first woman diver in the Maldives. So I always got the best. Like I got Priya, I always got the best in whatever I started. It came
Yes.
and fell on my lap. God has been very kind.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
so,
Love.
I met Dr. Miss Shahina. She's a super diver, and she said, "Uma, for diving, you should know at least to swim from A to B. Do you know to swim?" I said, "I don't know." So without swimming, diving is not possible. Uma, she was very diplomatic. She didn't
Yeah.
want to hurt me. And Amal ma'am and Shahina ma'am, this is what they made me think about it. So immediately the next step was learning to dive, learning to swim. So I learned swimming. Within 15 days, I learned free dive. In the swimming, I joined a swimming course.
Mm.
I joined, and after learning to swim, continuously for 6 months, I was in Malay. There's an artificial beach. So first thing I finished my cooking, I used to take classes, and after which I'm there in the beach. Always. So they used to see the whole beach is for myself in the Maldives. How lucky.
Lovely, lovely. The Maldives is indeed beautiful. I was there a few years ago, and I also observed the corals there, and what was happening with coral bleaching there. So, I mean, what a lovely story. I want to go to Priya for a bit, and I want to ask Priya. I mean, tell me about that moment when you got that phone call from Uma Mani. What was going through your mind? And yeah, tell me about that moment.
Yeah, I was working with a national television at that point, and I didn't have anything to do with coral reefs, or not even in my wild dreams I thought that I'm going to make this underwater film.
Yeah.
Uma's phone call was very random. She called up our receptionist and asked, okay, can my channel make a film on coral reefs? And since I was with the documentary feature department, they connected the call to me, and luckily I was at the desk. And there was a lady who was like, can you make a film on coral reefs? And we are like, we get such phone calls very often, people
Yeah.
asking, please do a story on this, like that. So I took even this phone call just like a random one. But somewhere, me coming from Kerala, Uma's mother from Palakkad, so that really connected. Being women really connected, and she asked me for my phone number. And I just felt it was a gut feeling. I went with it. I gave her my phone number, which I don't do usually.
Mm-hmm.
And the very evening, Uma gave me a call back and said, I Google searched and I saw some of your works. You're a documentary filmmaker. Why don't you make a film on coral reefs? So, to be honest, I was not fascinated about the corals, but I was fascinated by Uma. And
Yeah.
because I heard her story, and I'm like, wow, this story of like a woman who, like, because I was able to relate, because my mother, she had kept, like, she's a postgraduate, she kept away all her passion or her professional growth, everything for the family, and her world was her children. So it was the same for Uma also. Her priorities are her family and her child. And at one stage, a woman just felt that, I need my own identity. I want to do something for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So since I was very much interested in gender related work, that story really fascinated me. And I told her the very day that I would like to make a film on you.
Mm.
Then at that point, she didn't get it. She thought I said yes to her idea of, make a
Yeah.
film on coral reefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that friendship continued for almost 2 years. And I think I wanted some time to get that confidence that, I can pull an underwater film, because you don't learn an underwater filming in any film school. So in that 2 years of friendship with Uma,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, I started learning about corals. I'd read about it. My research continued, and that's how we finally emerged into what you saw in
Yeah.
coral.
So you had to get totally different equipment. Was there? Did you have a specific teacher in mind to learn about underwater filming, Priya?
A lot of preparations went into one. I have this politics of, having maximum women crew in my projects.
So lovely.
And even for this project also, I was very keen to have more women in my team. But
Mm.
all the names of cinematographers, underwater cinematographers which came in, they were mainly men, and I was preparing myself, this is going to be more men
No,
in the
no,
team.
no.
But I just gave it a shot. I just put a
Yeah.
photographs of a beautiful woman underwater holding a camera, and I said, I'm looking for an underwater cinematographer. Is there
Yeah.
anybody out there? I just
Oh,
sent it to our universe, it seemed.
oh, wow. Did you put that on social media or did
Yeah,
you?
I did. And the response was so tremendous. I got 2 women on board, 2 women cinematographers.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think, like Uma always tell, like, you ask the universe, it's gonna respond. I really feel that, even I was picked to just tell this particular story.
Story, yeah. And that's what I found so fascinating. And I agree with Umar, you throw it out into the universe and the universe works with you. I was,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Umar too, um, is there one type of coral that attracts you more than the others? Do you find yourself painting a certain type of coral over and over again? Um, do they speak to you? You know,
Yeah.
I don't usually speak, but do they speak to you in a way that you know didn't happen before?
The table corals. I like the table corals because they cover area acres and acres of areas, and yeah, they are the ones which protect from us from tsunami and all that. They're like they're the buffer to prevent the tidal waves to enter the shores. So they slow down the process of the tsunami. And you keep swimming, swimming, swimming. You don't find the end of that coral.
Oh,
It is,
really?
yeah, it
It
grows
looks
800, yeah, it grows for many, many years, 1,000 years at least. 800 to 1,000 years they
oh,
live.
wow. Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah.
so yeah, so they
And
keep
I
growing and
remember,
it looks like
and I'm just
tablecloth.
adding
I
to
was
Uma's,
even
yeah.
mentioning it.
Yeah.
They look
Yeah,
exactly like,
I wanted to mention that Uma, in her when we were having our interview, like so when she come back after her dive, I asked her, "What did you see?" And because I'm a non-diver, so I sit in the boat while they are underwater. So the first opening voiceover you heard was actually Uma explaining to me what
Mm,
she saw, and I weaved it into a voiceover. It was not like a written script. In
right.
that, she actually spoke about this table coral.
Yes.
She gave this beautiful metaphor. It's like a table, and the ends were like frills, that white laces, because
Mm,
the edges where the new coral is growing, that will be white, and the
yes.
rest of it will be brown, and the texture is very much like lace. So she was giving this metaphor of, it looked like a tablecloth with
Yeah.
yeah.
She said somewhere, she said, it's like your dining table. It's so huge, it's wide. And yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And so in your work that you're doing, and I saw, where you're trying to regrow coral again in these parts. So Uma, is it possible to, um, harness the old coral to grow new coral on it? Because I saw you guys putting it on little concrete blocks, right? You tied up some fresh coral and concrete blocks, and then you let them regenerate over years. Is it possible to do the same thing on existing coral?
yeah, the researchers were doing it because I'm not into it. When I became an assistant for them, maybe once guided, because it's all based on data. So everything, they're very fragile. So the researchers decide as to what. Yeah. So it was the researchers who were doing it.
Yeah.
That's how Priya has taught it. So, but if I can become their assistant when they tell them, "Ma, go plant this, plant that, plant here," so
Yeah.
that I can do, because the
Yeah.
decision, the data is the king here, and what
Yeah.
only the researchers can do. So
I
corals can
think,
be grown these days.
yeah.
Uh, they are grown on the land and they are shifted into the ocean in
Oh,
aquariums. In aquariums, yeah, and then they are shifted into the oceans. So there are
yeah.
many researches day to day, which gives us hope about corals.
So with
So
climate change,
corals, I'll just explain it to you, Rati.
yeah,
Corals are can reproduce sexually and asexually. So what
right,
you saw in the film is an asexual way of reproduction, which became a need of the time because sexual reproduction need a particular kind of climate and conditions. And because of the climate change, it's impacted quite a lot. The sexual reproduction is like a spawning which happens in particular time and season, temperature, etc. But what these scientists were doing was asexual reproduction. So they're just like one piece can regenerate into a full-fledged coral if
yeah,
given current good conditions. So
correct,
what Uma was explaining is exactly that. The researchers know where, okay, this is a good healthy coral. It has that ability to sustain most of the climate change issues. And in this particular temperature, if it is grown, even they give some small electric, some research institute even give that like electric sparks to give have that regrowth. Yeah, so that is possible. But
yeah.
we have to do this.
Yeah.
We have to induce these kind of activities because something which was happening naturally is really
Is
impacted.
going away. So my
Yeah.
question was then, because of climate change, and I saw this in the Maldives too, you have so much bleaching that's going on. And I would imagine when you introduce new coral, the same thing is going to happen, isn't it? Because the water is warmer now.
Yeah. So climate change is a universal problem. It's
Mhm.
happening in all the coasts, like let it be Australia, Indian Ocean. everywhere it's happening, and to make any change in that, a global voice should be there. We
Yeah.
need to unite and work for it. But the situations vary with coast also because of the anthropogenic effects, because that is like, that will be individual for each place. That's why we were specifically talking about what is happening in Gulf of Mannar, because it's a very big industrial hub. There is a lot of anthropogenic effects, from coral mining to, this algae growth, to other like
Mm.
sewage and chemicals. All this are adding to this global issue which is there.
Yes, and I think that came through very well in the film. You know, all the things that are going on with the waste clothes, and also the plant. I think there was a strike at the copper plant. Tell me a bit about that, and why did you feel that that plant was instrumental in hurting the
Even
crop? And maybe
uh,
you can also help answer that, both of you.
you're talking about the thermal plants or the sterilite?
The sterilite.
Okay, so we initially didn't plan to have such an important scene for Sterlite, because even when I was researching for the film, it was not a big national news at all. Because
Yeah.
we were shooting before the firing happened.
Yeah.
So whatever research which was available online, there was so many news about so many chemical companies.
Yeah.
So I was aware that there is cancer issue, there is high chemicals in that area. That much my research had given me, but I didn't know it was such a big issue. But when we were shooting there, it was a week before the firing, and then we actually saw people wearing anti-sterilite t-shirts. There were protest camp right in the church compound. So there were a lot of voice, banners, hoardings, all that. So then we encountered those women who told us, we, like, in every second house here there is cancer patient. So the film actually witnessed it, and we were back. And I remember I was at Uma's place. Uma was cutting some vegetable at her place, and we were watching TV. And this news flash that there is this 100th day, and the firing happened. And since we spoke with few people already there, they started sending me videos. So that the footage which you saw, those mobile videos, are
That's so
actually the footage which people send me. Then
mm,
I was in this dilemma that, okay, we witnessed it, and as a filmmaker I can't just pull out, because though the film is not about this particular issue, film has a larger picture. But since it witnessed it, I determined, "Hey, I'm going to have that in the film." And but I strongly say that it's not just one industry. Coral Woman is not focusing on one industry, it's the many. And this came out, that doesn't mean that other industries are.
absolutely, absolutely. And this whole idea of throwing your clothes in the water, and we now know that most clothes that have polyester will stay around for 1,000 years in the soil or wherever it is. It just seems like such a shame. And after making Coral Woman, and did you have some impact on getting the government to now prevent this from happening?
Mm. Priya, you want me to answer this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's for you.
I'll
Yeah,
add in to
the
it.
Rameshwaram, right?
Yes, in
Uh,
Rameshwaram.
yeah, it's pathetic. Yeah, it was so very heart wrenching rather, because people knowingly they have separate
Yeah.
uh, the bins to put those clothes, but they're putting it on the shows, and really our blood was boiling. The whole crew, we were all very upset on seeing that. But I don't think it remains the same.
It remains.
And Priya has arranged for a program in Rameshwaram very soon, maybe next year. I think once again we'll go there, and we'll talk about it once again,
Yeah.
and see that something can be done, because the whole crew will be going there once again, right, Priya?
Yeah, I can add to that. So, with Coral Woman, we are taking it ahead. We are actually a part of Coral Woman Impact. That really means use the film and to create an impact back into the society. So we are
Mm,
going to do it in multiple ways. One, definitely the screening. So all the planning actually happened in March, and the COVID happened. So many things got delayed. So we are hoping for a post-COVID world to restart many of it. But we are going to have screenings across the coast to create awareness, because people are doing with an ignorance that they are actually harming corals. Many people in that coast is not aware that they have such a rich marine ecosystem and coral reefs in that area. I had like multiple screenings in Chennai, and hardly many people know that. They were surprised that there are corals. We thought it's just there in Lakshadweep and Andamans. So we want to fill in that gap of lack of information. So we are going also bringing in a children's book, because we really feel they are like a strong ambassadors and voice to create climate change. We are also having converting our website into an interactive portal where people can actually learn about coral reefs in India. So if you want to learn about Gulf of Mannar, the kind of corals, what is harming it, everything, it's an interactive toolkit which will be there. We are also.
Could you tell people the name of that website, please?
Yeah. It's called coralwoman.com. If you go to the coralwoman.com, there is an impact take action page. So you can actually read our impact plans, and we are really looking forward for more partners, because it's not about Priya doing it or Uma doing it. We are actually joining hands with educational institutes, marine researchers, conservationists, philanthropists. Like, so we need all kind of people to come on board and be part of this project. Even artists, we are actually having a art residency which is in plan, where we are going to have an installation. So it will be inspired by the film, but so multiple activities are planned around the film to create impact.
So these are great ways that people can help. They can probably send you art. They could. Is there a place where they can maybe send funds? Do you have a foundation?
I can also add, we have a page for Uma's painting also. So few of Uma's paintings are already up on the website, and 50% of the price of the painting will go for coral rehabilitation. So that is something which we have pledged. So people can actually come forward and support like that.
Lovely. Yeah, that's very commendable that both of you are doing this. And so, what are the next steps, Uma? What are next steps for you?
Yeah, so I think we'll be diving in Rameswaram once again. So we also will dive with us, and the installation is going to happen. Apart from that, I'd like to dive in a few countries. I'd like to see Great Barrier Reef.
Oh,
I'd like I'd like to go back to Maldives once again to start diving. And that coral
things have changed. When I saw it 15 years ago, and now the corals have changed. But yes, did you notice the fish changing as well as climate change took place, or as the corals started getting bleached? Was there a difference in the types of fish that you see? Uma, I was just curious.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
Was there a difference in the kinds of fish that you saw in the ocean?
Yes. In the Maldives, of course, because the water is very clear, and you can see the fishes. And I saw many big fishes since the water is very clear. And I also felt because the water is clear and they use the polar line method, the big fishes had enough food, and the fishes were so happy. I felt the fishes were so happy because the responsible fishing was happening there.
Oh, I
So
see.
those fishes were happy. And I saw unhappy fishes also in Gulf of Mannar. I saw happy fishes and more of unhappy fishes because there was sewage water entering the ocean directly. It was let into the ocean, the sewage, and I was diving in the sewage also for 3 days, and I fell sick. So these fishes were not so happy fishes, and they were all small and weak. But when the sewage is treated, when the garbage disposal is done responsible in an ocean where such is done, the fishes are clear, they are happy, they are big, they are
Yeah.
in big schools of fishes. I was able to see because kilometers of fishes. You cannot see water kind of fish. I saw angel fishes. We were fully surrounded. The water looked yellow with that.
Oh, wow.
That kind of fishes I've seen there. But since the sewage was not treated here, such kind of fishes were not seen.
Yeah, I can
Well,
just add to what
Uh,
Uma is saying, Rati. There was a
yeah.
research which came out of this COVID-19 lockdown, which happened from the same coast, Gulf of Mannar. So during the lockdown, when scientists actually studied the pollution level and the fish density, etc., so they found the number of reef species increased from 89 to 96, and
Oh,
also average fish density increased by 22 percentage. This was
well,
a research which was done between May to June period this year.
that's
So,
amazing. That
yeah,
is
a small lockdown, less sewage going into less industrial pollution, sea is recovering. So there is hope. It's just that, we human beings just have to give ocean some space to recover.
absolutely, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. And on that note, I think I'm going to ask folks who are listening, tuning in to us, and listening to us, to please go to the website coralwoman.com and learn about the ocean, learn about how you can help get our oceans back. And I think both of you are doing a commendable job. And hopefully, I'm going to come join you one of these days when I'm in India and see firsthand, what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for being with us today, Priya, and continue your good work. And
Thank you.
my
Thanks a
good
lot.
inspiration, Uma. Would
thank
love
you.
to see your art and love to learn more as well from you. Thank you, Uma, for being here with us. And thank you, Priya. I know it's early morning and I really appreciate, I'm sorry, late in the evening, but I really appreciate you being with us.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye bye.